Hello, this is the Writing Interest Group, Month 3. I am Sarah, and I will be talking about poetic forms. Strict and formatted poetic forms with rules contrast greatly with free verse poems, as you can imagine. There are many types of poetic forms. Poetry has developed and evolved over the years, and by getting yourself familiar with different types, these unique styles convey different feelings that you can implement in your own poetry. In this video, I will highlight and explain a few of them. First is a haiku, which is a form that most of you know already. It is a specific type of Japanese poem with 3 lines and a total of 17 syllables, with each of the lines containing 5, 7, and 5 syllables respectively. Haikus began in 13th century Japan as the opening phrase of a renga, an oral poem. The much shorter haiku broke away from renga in the 16th century. As the form evolved, many of its regular traits, one of which being the famous syllabic pattern, have been routinely broken. However, the philosophy of haiku has been preserved, centered on a brief lapse in time, a use of descriptive words and imagery, and the ability to be simply read using a single breath. Pause this video and try writing a few haikus with the prompt nostalgia. Here are some examples. The second poetic form is the sonnet. Perhaps you've heard of Shakespeare's, Petrarch's, or Michelangelo's sonnets, but sonnet is a popular classical form that has compelled poets for centuries. A 14-line poem that follows an iambic pentameter. The 14 lines consist of an octave, or 2 quatrains making up a stanza of 8 lines, and a sestet, or stanza of 6 lines. A sonnet itself has different types. It was popularized by Francesco Petrarch, and the original form of the Italian sonnet is therefore known as the Petrarchan sonnet. The poem begins with 2 quatrains and ends with 2 tercets, or a stanza of 3 lines. The standard rhyme scheme for the octave is ABBA, ABBA, and for the sestet is either CDE, DCE, or CDC, DCD. A second type is the English sonnet. Poet Thomas Wyatt introduced the sonnet to the English language in the 16th century by translating the works of Petrarch from Italian. He made changes by introducing a new structure and rhyme scheme. The 14 lines are all written in iambic pentameter and are made of 3 quatrains of 4 lines followed by a 2-line couplet. The rhyme scheme is ABAB, CD, EF, GG. Though this may be slightly difficult, pause this video to give writing a sonnet a try. Here is an example of an English sonnet, Shakespeare's Sonnet number 60. A third poetic form is the Villanelle, which is a 19-line poem with 2 rhymes throughout, consisting of 5 tercets and a quatrain. Villanelles have 2 refrains, or a line of verse that repeats throughout the poem. The first and third lines of the first tercet alternate as the last lines of the remaining tercets. The middle line of each tercet have the same rhyme, and the first line of each tercet along with the first 2 lines of the ancient quatrain have the same rhyme as well. In the last stanza, a quatrain, these 2 lines appear again as the first 2 lines of the poem. Think of a line you want to repeat. It should be something that represents the central meaning you want in your poem. Pause this video and try writing a villanelle. This form may be hard to grasp at first, so here's a popular example, Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night by Dylan Thomas. While formatted poetry may seem limiting and difficult at first, remember that everything takes practice, and every skill will get better with repetition and time, with poetry being no different. While some may argue that writing these words is a figurative art form and can only be rendered by experience and talent, we all lived years in our lives, and we've all seen different things over the course of our unique journeys. This is why our poetry is unique, because it reflects our person, which is already different by itself.